America is the land of bright lights and broken dreams, a place that delights and inspires a hunger for fame. It's also a place that some people find hard to leave, even after death. My name's Gail Porter and I'm a skeptic.
My name is Chris Fleming and I am a sensitive.
It's my mission to investigate alleged sightings and hauntings of Hollywood ghosts.
A sensitive can detect paranormal events beyond the range of the 5 senses.
I wouldn't say I'm a non-believer, but I'm definitely a skeptic. Together, our mission is to investigate the dead famous. Lucille Ball was the irrepressible queen of television comedy with her hit show I Love Lucy for nearly a quarter of a century. With her impeccable timing and her endearing quality for making the outrageous believable, Lucille Ball was a major Hollywood player and a very important feminist icon.
Millions of fans love Lucy and keep her memory alive through endless reruns, websites, and fan clubs. But maybe there's more than her memory that is still here.
We're going to investigate the alleged hauntings of the world's most famous redhead and find out if her sense of mischief extends beyond the grave. Our search for the spirit of Lucille Ball will take us from the dark recesses of the Hollywood studios to the beaches and turrets of her favourite hotel,
I'm the one that can relate.
to the ship that she loved to travel on,
Just ripped off one of the buttons.
before ending back at the place where she launched her career. Would our journey provide me with the definite proof that paranormal activity existed? I wasn't to know what lay ahead.
I think you're getting a great deal of activity in this place.
Lucille Ball lived at 1000 North Roxbury Drive for over 2 decades. It was quite the celebrity hangout. Lucille had Jack Benny and Jimmy Stewart as neighbours, and regular guests included Bob Hope, Henry Fonda, Ginger Rogers and George Burns. Shortly after her death in 1989, the ghost of Lucille was allegedly spotted walking around her home. This seemed like the perfect place to start our investigation.
Well, actually, you know, this is the exact location that she used to live, but they tore that house down shortly after she died.
Okay.
And it was believed that after she died, she was haunting the place, walking around, because she was devastated that she knew her house was going to disappear. The question is she still here? Because now, as you can plainly see, it's a completely different house. I would have to be able to go in there and walk around and see if I still feel her, but, you know, we're not allowed to go in there, so I can't really tell you that.
Do you feel anything here?
Sitting here on the side of the street? No, I don't.
It's obvious we need to do a lot more investigation. I want to speak to people who knew Lucy, and I'd like you to find out more about her Hollywood persona.
Okay.
Okay? I decided to start by talking to Tom Watson, Lucille Ball's personal assistant for the last 20 years of her life. Over in Beverly Hills, Chris had arranged to meet Dan Kahn, the editor of I Love Lucy and a close friend of Lucille and her husband Desi Arnaz. Would their insights get us any closer to finding the spirit of Lucille Ball? So, Tom, what kind of a person was she to work with?
She was completely different insofar as when you worked with her, she was at work. I won't say she was a stern taskmaster, but she was basically no nonsense, because there was very little time built into a 3 or 4 day production schedule for a lot of horsing around.
When Lucy was around the studio, what was she like with everybody else?
Well, Lucy was all business off stage. She wasn't that funny. She wasn't always running around doing hilarious things. She was very serious. Desi was very demanding. And I think part of the pressure they put on everyone else, they also put on themselves. She loved her family, but everything centered around coming in and getting that script at the beginning of the week and going through it and making a hit out of it.
And she died, it was quite sudden, wasn't it?
It was very sudden. She'd had a heart ailment, and she'd been in the hospital. She'd had an operation, and the doctor said she was doing fine. And then early one morning, her aorta split, and she died almost instantly. So,
where was Lucy happiest when she was alive?
I think she was happiest at work, particularly in her arena, on her set, doing her show, being TV's Lucy.
With all the goals that Lucy set for herself and all the success that she had, was she a very spiritual person?
I think her church or her temple was the studio.
Interestingly, both our interviewees pinpointed the studio as being Lucille Ball's favourite place to be. Would this prove to be the place she had chosen to haunt? This seemed like the obvious place for Chris and I to start our search. The first 2 years of I Love Lucy were shot here. It is also a place where a large amount of paranormal activity has been reported. Studio employees have heard unexplained noises, felt cold spots, and sensed an eerie feeling when working here late at night.
As far as rumors of ghosts or stories of ghosts here on the lot, I will not confirm nor deny, but I will tell you firsthand from having been in some of the stages late at night. The catwalk is where the grips or the guys who work on the stage would hang pipes or lighting from. On stage 2, I believe, we were working on the catwalk and all of a sudden lights just went out. And of course, lights go out, and that's easily explained. All of a sudden, it just appeared to be extremely chilly. I'll go on record and say it was a ghost.
Could it be the spirit of Lucille Ball, or are they just figments of the imagination? Chris and I met up at Studio 2 with the manager of the studios, Richard Schneider.
This is stage 2, where I Love Lucy was shot in the early 50s. Their first season was shot here. The original stages were what they call MOS stages. It means shooting without sound. And they were actually almost like tents. Now the stages are soundproof. Yeah. And one of the ways they made the stages soundproof was to double the walls. They have an inside wall and an outside wall. And all the way around this stage is this area which is very scary because it's dark and nobody knows what goes on in here.
Now, obviously, we're looking for the spirit of Lucille Ball. Has there been any paranormal activity or any sightings of her in the studio?
At night, when we close up here, some of our stage managers have experienced something they can't explain.
Oh, really?
I'd like to get more acquainted with this place.
Well, you're welcome to stay here as long as you want.
Okay.
And when we turn the lights out and lock it up at night, it's all yours.
So we decided to stay the night.
Okay, what I got is my thermal scanner.
Yep. And what does that do?
Well, if we feel any deep cold spots, okay, I want to try to get some readings. Plus, I'm going to see if I can get any EVPs here.
Okay.
I thought I saw something just kind of go here. It might have been just a dust particle, but it looked like there was something that just floated right across here. Is there anything here?
Later in the edit, we analysed the tapes looking for possible EVPs. We picked up this reply to Chris's message.
Is there anybody here?
EVP stands for Electronic Voice Phenomena. This phenomena occurs when the voices of a spirit interrupt an electromagnetic field.
Is there anybody here?
Was this Lucille Ball trying to communicate with us, or had we somehow picked up external voices from outside this soundproof studio?
You know, sometimes, like, you know, when we have our own rooms in our houses and everything, they tend to find their own little rooms. Could be like in the rafters, could be in closets. You know, give them just a little bit of peace. Or if I feel anything. Yeah, it's freaky up here. You know, it's so quiet up here. This would be like a perfect place for like a ghost to hang out.
Right, this is where the ghost is supposed to be, up here, looking down.
Suddenly, the temperature in the whole of the studio dropped. It became very cold. There's a lot of noises going on. Hello? I thought this was a good time to investigate the wall cavities, where banging noises had allegedly been heard.
I can't believe she was going down there by herself. Okay, let me get serious here, see if I can tap into anything.
Chris went down the east side of the wall cavity.
Is there anybody here? Yeah, feel the temperature change. Yeah. We're back.
It's like it's going from up there down the coldness.
Oh. Oh. Okay.
You okay?
I don't know for sure, but I think something just touched my hand. Okay, if that was something, do it again. Oh, it just went by me. Oh, very cold.
I heard that.
Wow.
I heard that. I heard that.
But there was like a cold air that just came through. Okay, right now, the cameraman is getting messed with. All right, what just happened to you? Yeah? Yeah, she's starting to get freaked.
Was somebody or something trying to communicate with us?
I heard that.
Wow.
Was it Lucy?
I'm coming back. It doesn't want to show itself. Tricky little ghost.
Back at the motel, it was time to reflect on the night's events.
Well, I'm just back from the studios, and I wasn't particularly scared today. Chris was convinced. He definitely felt something when he went down the back corridor. So, you know, there's hope. But I've been doing some research this evening, and I found somewhere that definitely has paranormal activity, and quite a lot of it, apparently. And I really want to go there and take Chris there, because also I know that Lucy and Desi, it was one of their favourite places to visit, so it's definitely worth us going there.
Maybe she's trying to answer us too.
But would I be emotionally prepared for the next step in our search for Lucille Ball?
So is anything paranormal in there?
Yeah. Yes. For the first time in all of these things that we've done, I'm still shaking. I'm actually quite scared.
It's okay.
Day 2 in our search for the spirit of Lucille Ball, and the morning after our investigation at the Hollywood studios. There had been some unexplained activity, however I was not convinced it could be attributed to the paranormal. If it had been Lucille Ball's spirit, she had not shown herself. However, I had done some research and found further locations associated with Lucille Ball, places where I hoped we'd come into contact with her spirit.
We're going to go to San Diego because there's a hotel there that Lucille and Desi used to frequent quite a lot, and it's definitely haunted. Lots and lots of sightings, but I'm not sure if it's Lucille Ball or not. Do you want to go and check it out?
But I can go in there.
Yeah, you can go in there. You can stay the
great.
night. You can do anything you like.
Right.
Well, not anything.
Not
but
anything.
Yeah.
I won't allow that.
We'll draw the line at some things, you know.
Rising from the water's edge on the quaint island of Coronado in San Diego, the Hotel del Coronado is considered one of America's most beautiful resorts. It is also said to be one of America's most haunted hotels.
So this is the Hotel del Coronado, and the reason I thought we should come here is because not only, like, since 1901 it's attracted loads and loads of movie stars. Marilyn Monroe filmed Some Like It Hot here, and also Lucy and Desi loved it here, but I know that there is one definite ghost and her name's Kate Morgan.
Would we come into contact with Lucy, or possibly even Kate? Chris and I went to meet the hotel's spokeswoman to get some clues as to where to begin.
The Hotel del Coronado was built in 1888 in 11 months. It took less than a year. We've had celebrities that go back to the Barrymores and as current as Demi Moore.
Really?
And also Lucille Ball and Desi Arnaz. And the story goes that they both came down and visited and perfected their persona, which would, in a couple years, become the famous I Love Lucy show.
We know that you have got a resident ghost.
Kate Morgan, she was young and beautiful. When she met Tom, her husband, she was actually sold to him as part of a poker game with her father.
Oh, really?
And then started riding on trains coming from the Midwest out to California, and was used as a shill on the train with her husband because she was so beautiful. She was able to lure the people that he would bet with. And story is that Kate checked in November of 1892, stayed in room 3327, and 4 days later, she was found dead on the beach. Future coroner reports showed that it was a suicide.
What kind of encounters have happened here?
Specifically in room 3327, sometimes people have said it gets very warm and then very cold. The TV will turn off and on. The fan will start to go.
The obvious place for Chris and I to check for any paranormal activity was Kate Morgan's old room. And if we found Kate, would we then find Lucy? Karen Lakos was a guest at the hotel 30 years ago when she claimed she had contact with a mysterious figure in the hallway. She believes the sighting was the ghost of Kate Morgan.
Okay, so what happened?
We were walking back from dinner.
Okay.
And as I approached the room, I was putting the key in the door, and I looked over my right shoulder, and I saw a beautiful woman putting the key in her door. And as I'm turning the key, she's looking at me, she's smiling, she's nodding, and it's like we're saying goodnight to one another. So I open the door, go in, and suddenly realized that I saw someone extraordinary, beautiful, transparent, in a Victorian gown. This was early 70s. It wasn't, the same kind of clothing that we would wear today. So it occurred to me that this was a ghost. I jumped back out of the room as fast as I could to see if we could see her again. My husband was behind me, and she's gone.
Shortly after the sighting, Karen drew this image, which she believes is the ghost of Kate Morgan.
Want to go in there?
Let's go in.
Oh, it's great. So this is her room.
This is her room.
Nice room.
Yeah.
I'd want to come back here.
Yeah.
This is nice. I do feel a different energy here from anything else we've been in this place. But, I would like to come back here later tonight to see if she comes back here.
Yeah, I'm up for that.
Okay. And we can see if we get any scientific proof for you. Okay?
Chris had checked us into the room for the night. We were all hopeful to get a sign from Kate and maybe find out a little bit more about why she took her own life.
Excited?
Yep.
All right. What we're going to do here is some stuff I used to do when I was little. Get people in a room and try to get her to come forward. Okay. So what I'm going to ask both of you to do is think of Kate. Clear your mind of everything else and just think of Kate. Ignore the camera crew, everybody else that's here. And if you feel any changes in your own energy, you feel any changes in temperature, make it aware. If we feel it in the room,
I'm going to see if I can get it to give us a sign. Something more concrete, maybe a light going on, a light going off, blowing out the candle, a knocking sound, knocking something over, or maybe something being touched. All right, Kate Morgan.
I was skeptical as Chris began to call out for Kate.
Kate Morgan.
Would we get a sign from her? From Lucille Ball? From anybody?
Okay. I'm starting to feel like chills in the back of my neck. And as if something's like behind me. So I'm sensing that whatever this is, it is something that is happy. Which to me, honestly, I don't make sense of that.
Yeah, but maybe. But to you, she was very unhappy in her life, and then she's happy now.
That's great. That's a great answer.
It was at this moment that I felt something was very wrong, and we were still waiting for that sign.
I'm feeling real flushed in my face.
Oh, man.
Yeah, I am.
I just feel like
tingling on
there's
my
like
legs,
something
too.
moving behind me. It's just, let's keep talking about it, because obviously this is bringing something here. I think that might be our connection.
I wondered. Oh my God.
Okay. I want you to get that.
It's dead. That's it.
That's our sign.
Okay.
I have goosebumps all over.
Sit down. Sit down. There's more. Just sit down.
Gail, are you okay?
Yeah, I'm fine.
Are you scared?
Yeah.
Okay.
Here, it's okay.
Hang on. Just hang on.
I'll sit here. She's okay. She's here.
They can do more. Okay, listen. I want you to think.
Weird. Are you okay?
It's okay.
Weird. Come sit
It's
here.
okay. Don't worry.
Come sit.
Come on. Sit by me. Okay.
Nothing weird.
What's wrong? Maybe she's trying to enter into you.
Suddenly, my legs had gone heavy.
She's probably.
Was Kate trying to show me the sadness that she'd felt before she died?
They travel through energy, okay? So she entered through the phone, and now she's in you. She's just letting you know how she feels. Bear with me on this, okay? This is going to be a connection for you. No, hang on.
At this point, the crew became increasingly concerned about my well-being.
Kate, listen, Gail is not afraid, but she doesn't want to get upset. This is not the way to make the connection with us, okay? Kate, listen, do not enter, Gail. Come through me. I am the vessel to come through. I'm the one that can relate, okay? Come here.
Are you alright, honey? Are you okay?
Come here.
It's okay.
Kate, listen to me, whoever you are. Do not go through Gail. Go through me. I am the one that can control this. Gail cannot handle this.
It's good. It's good.
Please. Please. It's okay. Everybody just listen. Listen, come here. Hang on. Whoever you are, get out of Gail. Leave Gail. I command you, all spirits and souls of earth. I command you, Lord. And spirit guides, come forward and protect Gail right now. I ask you to protect Gail. Leave Gail, enter into me, leave Gail. Attention be drawn to them and not to Kate. Are you okay, Gail?
Are you okay?
I'm really sorry.
Here, just sit here. Are you alright?
I'm really sorry.
It's okay. Okay, she's meant. Oh, I know it's happening. All right, listen.
There's more to that. Did you hear anything on the phone?
No.
It was
dead.
Oh, that could be anything, you know?
That could be anything. I felt dreadful. I felt absolutely dreadful.
What, as soon as you put the phone down?
No, before I got up, I felt like my entire body was really... I got pins and needles.
You felt like real, like... Where's that side? Do you want me to go and get your drink?
I'm okay just now.
You sure?
You're okay.
Yeah, I'm fine. You sure? Yeah. I really don't. That's too...
Tonight, Gail got to experience what I go through. And this spirit, this ghost, made a connection with her to prove to her that she's here and that this is real.
So there's anything paranormal in there?
Yeah. Yes. For the first time in all of these things that we've done. I'm still shaking. I'm actually quite scared.
Whatever had happened in that room, I could not explain it, but it was an energy I'd never felt before. I was too shaken to carry on the investigation that night. I hoped that our search for Lucille Ball would lead us into calmer waters. But little did we know that things were going to go from peculiar to paranormal.
Oh, it just ripped off. It just ripped off one of the buttons. She's probably going to connection.
Our investigation to find Lucille Ball's ghost had taken a disturbing turn. After visiting one of Lucille and Desi's favourite places to stay, the Hotel del Colorado, I had experienced some sort of supposed paranormal energy enter me, believed by Chris to be the spirit of the hotel's resident ghost.
Being the biggest skeptic around, I can't explain why I felt like someone had broken my heart, and I can't explain why. I don't know what happened for however minutes. I felt weird. For the first time, I think I'm going to have to say something paranormal happened in that room. Something very odd happened.
Shocked and emotionally shattered, we called it a night. The following morning, Chris and I met to discuss where we could go from here.
I was trying to think this morning, thinking maybe I was ill, maybe I wasn't feeling well. I didn't like it at all.
Yeah, you scared me a bit, too.
Did I?
Yeah.
Sorry. And I haven't slept a wink.
Really?
I was too scared to sleep. It wasn't Lucille Ball, though.
No, it wasn't Lucille Ball. I don't even think Lucille Ball's in this hotel. I mean, I walked around, I tried to pick up on her, and I didn't. But the thing is, we can't just expect to find her in every place that we go to.
So where are we going to go next?
Well, have you ever heard of the Queen Mary? Mm. It was actually one of the ships to be seen on in her heyday around the time of Lucille Ball. But not only that, it's really haunted. So you want to go there? No. Gail, it's the most haunted ship in America.
I'm a bit scared at the moment.
Have some coffee, you'll be fine.
Built in 1934, the Queen Mary in Long Beach remains one of the most famous ships in history. It's now a tourist attraction and hotel. But for years, paranormal experts have believed that the Queen Mary is haunted. Passengers and crew members alike have reported numerous eerie sightings. Who are the ghosts who roam the vessel? Will they make themselves known? And if they do, will Chris be able to identify one as that of the spirit of Lucille Ball? The ship is so well known for its ghostly residents that a ghost tour has been set up on board.
Good afternoon, everyone. Now, if you're ready. Hi, my name's Greg. I'm one of the tour guides for the Peter James Ghost Encounter here on the Queen Mary. We take people around to various haunted areas of the ship, accompanied by Peter James on video. Queen Mary is very haunted. We've got hundreds of ghosts on board. Passengers, crew members, famous people. We've had Lucille Ball, Marlene Dietrich on board. Maybe they're still around. The boiler rooms are obviously the lowest part of the ship. There were many, many people that died down there. The temperatures were intense. A lot of the workmen, as well as some of the officers on board, still roam the decks down there.
I'm not sure why, but the boiler rooms had left me feeling a little uneasy.
According to Peter James, the most haunted room on board the ship is the first-class swimming pool. I tend to agree. There have been a lot of sightings in there. They've seen a little girl. They've seen women in bathing suits. There is a feeling in the room that is pretty much indescribable. The hair stands up on the back of your neck. There's always the feeling that you're not alone. Ladies and gentlemen, if you would like to experience the vortex. The vortex were the ladies' changing rooms. According to Peter, that is the window or the doorway between the spirit world and our world.
Chris doesn't want to do it just now, but I'm going to do it now. I don't know if I'm going to come back. I don't like it.
And because of that, it is very powerful. There's a lot of energy back there. This is the vortex right here. This is supposedly the doorway between the spirit world and ours. I don't know if you see anything in this one. Pressure changes, number of things. Normally my hair stands up on end.
Yeah, I feel quite cold.
All right, let's go ahead.
What do you feel? I just don't feel well. It feels weird. It feels cold. You feel it? Just all here.
I had felt some temperature change in the vortex room, and the pool room definitely had an air of oppression. My feelings of discomfort were getting worse.
Security has been walking by the main doorway to this room and heard the sounds of children playing and splashing.
I was confused. Was I becoming more sensitive, or was this all in my imagination?
How do you feel?
How'd I feel?
Is that a stupid question?
You know, it was exciting. I mean, when I went in the boiler room, I started getting emotional. I started picking up something. But the pool, I noticed that you started crying.
I don't know if it's maybe what happened last night, and because I haven't slept all night, and I'm feeling a bit weird about everything.
Yeah, I wonder if you're getting more sensitive to this stuff now. I want to go back to that pool.
Well, listen, I've actually got a surprise for you.
You do? What?
Peter James. He's going to come and join us tonight.
Ah.
Two of you. 2 against 1.
Uh-oh.
I'll be a nervous wreck. I'll be crying all the way back to London. Yes, Peter James is going to come and join us and do a nighttime tour.
Peter James is a psychic who's performed significant amounts of investigative research on the Queen Mary.
So if you follow me, I'll lead you to the boiler room, which is also very active.
His findings have captured various forms of paranormal activity, including audible sounds, smells, distinct temperature changes, and visual activity.
Okay, it's quite dark in here.
First stop was the boiler room. Previously, Peter had made contact with 2 ghosts here, called John Henry and Dana. Would they make their presence felt? Chris took photographs to see what he could capture in the dark.
Listen carefully while I try to communicate with John and Dana. John Henry? John?
Really cold, it's like ice.
Even the crew were starting to find the place a little eerie.
John? Talk to me, John.
There was no noticeable paranormal activity here on this occasion. We decided to travel even deeper into the ship to the supposed most haunted area, the first-class swimming pool. Peter claims that this is the heart of the Queen Mary, with up to 6 ghosts present here.
This is where Jackie, my child-talking ghost, speaks audibly, heard by scores of people over the years. Jackie! Listen. Hello?
What's that noise? Did you hear that?
Yeah.
We boosted this noise later in the edit, and it sounds like a girl singing. Have we caught on our own camera mic the voice of Jackie, or one of the other 6 ghosts trying to communicate with us? The next room was the changing rooms, where the vortex is.
This is the vortex. This is the energy center. And then put your hand out like this. Feel that cool air?
At this point, on the nighttime vision cameras, we spotted a strange movement in the background. It appears to be coming from the direction of the vortex. On closer inspection, you can see that the shape actually has a shadow, which suggests that it has form, but is transparent. Peter had his own theory as to what this strange apparition was.
That is an anomaly. It's spectral energy, or it could have been an entity about to show itself, but needed more energy, if you will.
Okay, let's try and get him to come.
We have inspected the footage repeatedly. There is no logical explanation for what this anomaly is. The camera lens is not moving, so it's not a flare. It appears to go behind Chris and the camera cable and moves independently. I was pretty convinced we'd caught something very unique on camera. Peter believes that this could have been an entity about to show itself. Chris wanted to investigate further to see if this was the case. He followed in the direction it had travelled.
Is there anybody in here? Come out, come out. Show yourself. Show yourself. It just ripped off. It just ripped off one of the buttons off my jacket. Wait. Or it threw something at me. Did you see that? Something got thrown. Come on, you're supposed to film this. It just threw something at me. Look at my. Did one of my buttons come off? No, it threw something at me. Well, hello. Okay, I'm feeling a lot of energy over there. Oh my gosh. Did you hear that? Yeah. It threw something at me. We need a flashlight or camera or something. I gotta find out what it was that it threw at me.
Go with James.
Hello? Thank you for doing that. Oh, yeah. Something. God. I believe that this is what was thrown at me. And that's all the way down there.
It had been an action-packed night. We caught on camera noises and what seemed to be a girl singing.
Yeah.
We'd come across unexplained phenomena, and Chris believed that he had had contact with a spirit.
It just ripped off. It just ripped off one of the buttons off my jacket.
Had any of these spirits been Lucille Ball, or had our search for her been in vain? We left the Queen Mary in the early hours, convinced by what we'd seen, but no closer to Lucille. There was one more avenue to explore. But would it be Chris that any message would come through?
I think you're getting a great deal of activity in this place.
It was the final day in our search for Lucille Ball. I hadn't been prepared for the events that had unfolded at the Hotel Dell and the Queen Mary. The morning light had made me feel somewhat comforted, but my sense of unease continued. I knew that our journey to find the spirit of Lucille Ball had to continue, but I wasn't sure what to believe anymore. Chris was keen to hold a séance at the Hollywood studios, where he had felt closest to Lucille. Would this provide me with the definitive proof that I so desperately needed, that perhaps something really is out there?
So we've set up for this séance tonight. What do you hope to achieve from our communication circle?
Well, we'll have a group of people that are going to be around the table. We're going to hold hands. We're going to try to concentrate on Lucille Ball, because that's who we want to get. And hopefully that concentration will send over a signal to the other side that we connect with, that will bring her back so we can communicate with her. Now, I did feel something when we were here earlier. Oh.
Okay. I don't know for sure, but I think something just touched my hand. It might have been.
Do you think that was Lucille?
I can't tell for sure, because it seemed like it was a little bit shy. So I feel with the other people around, that is going to send a signal to the other side that hopefully she will grab a hold of and she will come down and talk to us.
Who are the people that you've invited along tonight?
Well, we've got a psychic that's going to be here. She is going to lead the seance, as well as some fans that are interested in talking to Lucy if we get her.
Well, I've actually invited Richard Sennett along, and he's a parapsychologist, and he's going to give me a bit of a sensible, my kind of commentary that I can understand.
So you got your people and I got my people. See if we can get Lucille Ball.
As nighttime fell, it was time to prepare. So we're holding a séance here tonight. What could we expect?
Anything can happen. We may have a physical phenomenon, apparitions appear, the table might be manipulated, we may have voices coming through the medium, we may even have people at the table possessed.
How do you feel so far since you've been here?
That is great. First of all, the stage has a wonderful feel to it. It has a great feel to it. And I'm thinking that maybe not only Lucille is here, but possibly other characters are here too.
My goal is to make sure nothing comes into the seance room, nothing is manipulated that might not be supernatural. I want to make sure that what's here is as it is, and there's no chicanery. There's nothing that might be mistaken for a ghost.
To ensure this, Richard frisks everyone who's taking part in the seance.
I know that Richard Sennett is actually, he has looked around here to make sure that everything's okay, there's no tricks to be played, and he's searching everybody, so we'll make sure that what we get is legitimate. All right, well, let's get started.
Okay, thanks, Chris.
With Richard fully happy with his surroundings, it was time for Pam and Chris to begin the seance.
And so in this quiet, sacred spot, in the silence, I now ask one of the most beloved comedians to come forth, Lucille Ball.
Richard and I observed the seance from outside the circle. Things got off to a pretty quick start. The temperature in the room dropped dramatically. Then the camera equipment started to play up. Was an energy trying to get through, disturbing the magnetic fields of our equipment. Being a sensitive means that Chris is allegedly able to channel. Through this channeling, he hopes that Lucille will invade his body and that she will communicate through him. The actual mechanics inherent during unconscious channeling is that the soul or spirit of the medium is either pushed aside or leaves the body. This shift of energy can take seconds or minutes. Often as a shift begins, the body may shake or quiver. Was this Lucille Ball trying to contact Chris at last? If it was, he seemed to be having trouble communicating with her. It seemed that Pam was having more success communicating with Lucille. Did Lucille feel more comfortable with a woman? If so, what was her message?
Message to the children, to her children, that hold on to the preciousness of the love that you have, and don't worry about the achievements. If she could do it again, she would have worked less, been less afraid, and shown up greater in her soul. Oh, this place looked so different when she was here. Oh my God, it was totally different. This is so cliche, I don't know how else to say this. Don't love the picture, don't love who I am, don't worship anything. Love one another.
The message that we got, I actually thought that would be funnier, but it was all about, like, love, which is kind of funny, you know, because everyone loves Lucy or whatever.
It was interesting what Chris was going through when it came to Lucille. He said he felt very blocked when it came to her.
I think it's a beautiful sentiment for people to remember today, because everyone in the world is so concerned with me, and not thinking about what that does to everyone else. I think that was a big message today.
Our investigation came to a close. According to Pam, we had made contact with Lucille Ball. Chris's channeling had exhausted him, but I also think he felt frustrated that he hadn't contacted her himself. However, the message had been a positive one, and everyone seemed happy with the optimistic outcome. It was time for Chris and I to move on.
I think it's been the most interesting one that I've done.
I would definitely agree with you, especially for you, after what you went through at the Hotel Coronado.
Yeah, that was very weird, and I still keep trying to think maybe I wasn't feeling well, or I don't know. Do you know what? I'm not going to think about it after this. But you got a lot from this.
I tell you, yeah, definitely. I think the one thing that I picked up most about Lucille Ball was she spent too much time in her career. She didn't get to enjoy some of the most simplest things in life. And wouldn't you agree on that?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, it's been very interesting, but I'm glad it's over.
Now you can get some rest, right?
Exactly. Come on, then.